Malaysia will suffer 1 billion of losses. Why do we suffer so much? Is because first of all, we do not collect so much of taxes anymore, and on top of that, we also have to spend some certain amount of money to keep the individuals and also company floating. So every single day, Malaysia will suffer 1 billion. And overall, we've foreseen that in total, Malaysia will suffer 107 billion if the lockdown continue until middle of July. Now imagine if this lockdown persists until end of the year. If everyone doesn't comply to, staying at home, or you still have to meet somebody, and the viruses still circulate, among everyone, and and this is not within control, this amount will be double or even triple if the cases keep on going up. Okay, so if this MCO will be lasted until middle of July, which means we will in total incur a loss of 107 billion. But again, like what I say, these losses may be higher if we continue going on until the end of the year. So this is quite a big thing for us. If the country suffers so much of money, imagine that the mega projects will be stopped, or even a lot of other things that the government has promised, it will be having harder to achieve. Like for example, not just mega projects, maybe your up and coming facilities, LRTs, all this will be stalled and will be delayed. And aside from that, imagine that the country have spent so much of money this year and last year. So next year, you will also foresee that the taxation rate might be increased as well, because this is to cover up all these losses that incurred to the government in the previous year. However, we do not know what will gonna happen, but this looks like it's gonna happen next or coming year. Okay. Now, also a lot of people will be saying, if the country is doing so badly, wouldn't it be devaluing our currency? Now, devaluing currency is not so much of my concern. The worst come to worst, you don't go to holiday. Okay, the worst come to worst, you don't buy so many imported items, you buy more local items. But devaluing currency will also a good indication for Malaysia. In a short run, it will be a suffering, but in the long run, it could be a benefit to Malaysia. Why do I say so? Because if you look at all these countries that devalue their currency, like for example, if you remember subprime crisis in 2007, while the subprime crisis affect US and also UK, what happened is that they devalued the sterling pound so that it becomes so affordable for people to start investing into UK. And because they devalue it, it becomes so cheap to invest comparing to France, German, and other countries. A lot of investors, they choose to invest into Britain as well, because Britain is also one of the reputable country. Now imagine that if our country is doing pretty good in certain services, and devaluing Malaysia ringgit can also bring benefit to Malaysia. Now, what will PEMERKASA focus on? So this PEMERKASA is actually very important to our current situation to improve, or is also an intervention from the government to improve the economy. Now, what will the PEMERKASA will focus on? First of all, they will increase the public healthcare capacity. We know that the hospital, there are some of the hospital ICU station wasn't enough. The capacity for ICU wasn't enough right now. So the government going to come up with some money from the reserve to increase the capacity in all this healthcare center. And on top of that, they will also continue the welfare program so that it will helps all these individuals as well as the SME. Now, it also support all this business that is closing down. If there is certain businesses that are finding very, very hard to continue, or is in the cash flow is really tight in that kind of situation, So this PEMERKASA were able to help all these businesses to continue their business by allowing them to borrow at a very, very low rate. Now, what is this PEMERKASA helps? First of all, they will help on the wage subsidy. Now, I think, personal opinion, I think the MCO one has got a better wage subsidiary compared to this round. Maybe because government thinks that they have already helped out a lot. So I think they already, already pull up so much of their money to help out in the first round. So this round, I don't see it very attractive for the wage subsidiary. For the first round, I think it's very, very good in the sense that they have to pay off 600 ringgit every single month, depending on how many employees do you have. So this round, they only able to help you for 1 month, comparing to the last round, which is they help out for 6 months from the PEMERKASA. So this round, they only help you with 1 month, 600 ringgit each employee for those employee who earning 4,000 ringgit or lesser. Okay, so if any of your employee that is withdrawing 4,000 ringgit basic pay or lesser, you are able to withdraw 600 ringgit from the government as part of the subsidiary program. Now this if all these micro enterprises that previously have received Prihatin's special grant PSG, you will also further receive another 500 ringgit. Okay, so in other words, previously they already withdraw 1,000 ringgit. So now they also give you extra 100 ringgit per pax. So in total, they already pay out 1,500. Now, in terms of banking and financing, okay, this is very interesting because I think they focus more on banking and financing instead. So for banking and financing, first of all, they have come to this targeted relief and recovery facility program, which they are able to borrow or give a financing that's set on 3.5%, regardless of how high is your risk, or either they borrow you or either they don't borrow you. But if they give you some money, if they lend you some money, they will actually set the interest rate at 3.5%. Now 3.5% is considerably quite low, okay, quite low. But after that, I'm going to share with you another one that is even better. 3.5% is considering very low because right now all this SME loan can goes up to 4%. Okay, if you're buying houses or you are buying houses or you are buying shop lot or factory under an investment holding company or Sendirian Berhad, you know that you will be borrowing a SME loan. If you're taking up a SME loan, it usually varies from 4%, 4%. So 3.5% is considered a very good rate. However, if let's say you are not able to pay your loan, you are not able to serve your loan right now, let's say your installment is overdue, you can quickly make a phone call to your bank to ask for a moratorium. Now you have two choices. The last time we wasn't given a choice, but we were sort of like encouraged to get this moratorium. So everyone compulsory, you get a moratorium. Unless you want to continue to pay for it, then you will have to call the bank to stop that moratorium. Otherwise, they won't deduct the amount from your account for standing order instruction. So this time, it will be 3 months, either 3 month full moratorium, or you get a 6 month or 50% moratorium. So how do I choose whether to go from full moratorium or 50% of the moratorium? Now, it all depends on how is your condition, what is your conditions in terms of financial situation. If your financial situation is healthy, then 3 months full moratorium will not be very good for you because you're going to pay. It's not that you are not going to pay, it's just you're going to delay payment. Moratorium means you are going to delay your payment. It does not mean that you give you free. And you know what happens is that a lot of people, when during this moratorium, they thought that they have a lot of money in hand. which was during MCO1, a lot of people start spending a lot of money because they don't have to pay their car, they don't have to pay their credit cards, they don't have to pay their housing mortgage installments. So what they do is they keep spending money because you have a lot of disposable income. And they have never thought that this pandemic will last until 2021. So a lot of people actually spending a lot of money on unnecessary items. I think one of them is me. I do not deny that I spent a lot of money during that period of time. I spent a lot of money buying, kitchen aid, kitchen equipment, baking equipment, just to, keep myself entertained at home. But I see that a lot of people doing the same thing as well. But if you are able to sustain, if your salary is able to sustain, your income is able to sustain, then it's fine. Because this moratorium is not something that you don't have to pay, which a lot of people misunderstood. It's just that you're going to delay until end of the tenure, you're going to add on another 6 months. Now, if you remember that we actually have 6 months of moratorium initially,